My name's Aaron Wetzel and I'm here for you. I have two questions. The first is, what is the image of the church? What is the biblical image of what the church was supposed to be? What the church should be? And the second question I have to ask you is, can we follow Christ without following Christ, without walking in his footsteps, without taking up our cross, without doing the things that he has commanded us to do? If the answer is no to the second question, that we cannot follow Christ without following Christ, then we're in trouble as a modern church, because the vast majority of the church does not follow what Jesus commanded us. Even if we just look at one sermon that Jesus Christ preached, which is the Sermon on the Mount, the modern church does not measure up. It has been, let's see, where was I? But, so, many, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father in heaven. For many will say to me in that day, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name? Have we not cast out demons in your name? And done many wonders in your name? And then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. That pretty much sums up quite a bit of what the modern church is. They practice lawlessness. They do not follow what Jesus Christ has commanded in his scriptures. No, I'm not talking about going back and following the Levitical law. I'm talking what has Jesus Christ commanded us to do. I'm talking about the New Testament. They do not follow the New Testament. So, if they do not follow the New Testament, can they call themselves Christians? And so, I just want to take a look at, let's see, where is it? The Sermon on the Mount. And I just want to go over the first few verses of it. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. That seems a little backwards. What Jesus is commanding us, or not commanding us, is saying, is exactly opposite of what the church is saying. The church is saying, if you're lowly, you need to develop a positive attitude. You need to you need more self-esteem. No, we need no self-esteem. We need to esteem Christ. We must decrease, he must increase, if we are to walk in the paths that he has called us to walk. We can't do it on our own. We cannot walk after Christ on our own. So, let's take a look at the next one. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. One thing in the American church is that we do not believe that we will suffer trials. We seek an easy Christianity. We're not willing to make sacrifices for our Christianity. I'm not sure if that's what that verse is talking about. Actually, I know it isn't, so I'll just kind of stop with that. But let's go to the next one. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth. Not the rich, not the proud, not the rulers. God shall resist the proud, but give grace unto the humble. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. If we're not hungering and thirsting after righteousness, what are we hungering and thirsting after? Because God said we cannot serve two masters. Either we will hate the one and love the other, or love the one and despise the other. We cannot serve two masters. If the world, if Mammon, or God, which one is it? Which one will it be? You need to make a choice for either truth or continue to swallow the lie that we've been fed. Let's continue on. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. That's one I struggle with. I know that that is one that I can be merciful to a poor drunk out on the street. That doesn't frustrate me at all. They are a soul that needs saved. And God wants to bring us to a place where we are willing to lay down our life for a poor drunk out on the street. If we could just bring one of them to salvation, that we'd be gladly willing to lay down our life. But where I struggle with having mercy is on those whom I know that God will show no mercy to, because they have taken his name in vain for their own profit. Like these televangelists who are preaching a health, wealth, and prosperity, where, as we'll go on a little ways, is not what the Bible teaches. The Bible teaches that blessing is persecution. That, well, we'll get to that. But, let's see. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. If we cannot see God without being pure in heart, then a vast majority of us are sunk. Because purity is not something that is taught in the modern churches here in America. If you go overseas, if you go to China, and you are able to talk with somebody from an underground church, or, they're actually praying for us. They're actually sending missionaries here. They're praying for us, and you know what they're praying for us about? They're praying that we will suffer persecution here in this country, so that we may be strengthened, and that we may be made into the bride without spot or blemish. Well, but if you look at all of church history, the times that the church grew like wildfire was under persecution. And I feel that we're coming up to another time where there's going to be persecution here in America. And I know a vast majority of those who claim to be Christians will slide away, because they do not dig their roots into the Word. They have Bibles sitting on their shelves, collecting dust. And they'd rather watch TV, Netflix, YouTube, funny cat and dog videos, whatever. It doesn't matter. They love the world, and they ignore God. And I know I was that way for a vast time, and I'm not... Okay. I'm angry with myself for having been that way. And I am frustrated with the teachers who are teaching. They kept me so deceived in lies for so long. And I'm frustrated with the teachers that are keeping vast majorities of people deceived in lies, preaching sermons that tickle itching ears. And we need to wake up before it's too late. Has the sleeping giant already been drained of blood? Is it already too late for the church to arise, to wake up from its sleep? Is it too late? Well, I guess I should get back to the scriptures instead of ranting. Let's see. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. When it's talking about peacemakers, it's not talking about people who are willing to compromise biblical standards for peace with the world. It's talking about people who are willing to step out of their way to help somebody else in need, to somebody who will not let the sun go down on their wrath, who will do their best to make amends. If somebody has aught against you, you try and settle that aught. But if that aught is on that you are standing on biblical Christianity and they want to kill you for that, then blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So, if we're standing on the truth of God and we're persecuted for it, that is something completely different than being a peacemaker. Being a peacemaker is making peace on, well, I'm sorry, I don't have the words to say that, but I hope you get the idea that peacemaking is not compromising standards. Blessed are you when they revile you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. You hear that? Blessed are you when. It doesn't say if, it says when. If you're following Jesus Christ, it's not an if, it's a when. When they revile you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. That's Jesus Christ talking there. He doesn't say if, he says when. So, I am really questioning whether we have a true Christianity here in America if people aren't persecuting us. Because they persecuted the prophets. I'm sure if somebody stood up today with the power of Elijah, they'd quickly be assassinated. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. So they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So, they persecuted the prophets, they're going to persecute us. If we are truly walking in the light of Jesus Christ, they're going to persecute us. And I honestly am among those who are praying that persecution will come on America. Because the church in America is almost dead. And Either Jesus Christ is going to have to bring a mighty sweeping revival. Well, Jesus Christ is going to have to bring a mighty sweeping revival if he is to save this country at all. If he is to preserve any truth left on this earth. He's coming soon.